Hey, g'day guys, how you going? It's Justin Allen here with my Good Advice channel. Here to give you good advice for a better future. Right, today I'm talking about what is your game plan? What is your game plan? You know, really got to think, where's your life taking you? Where you want to be in the future? You can't just wing it. The society's game plan for you, I believe, is just to go to school, get a job, buy a house, and then just eventually sell it and get a better house and just work all your life and just retire at 65 with whatever you've ended up with. So what's your game plan? You know, is that what you want your future to be? For me, I say to myself, like, you gotta put your brain to work and think about it on a daily basis until you come up with an idea on what you want to do. You know, if you don't make a plan, don't make a game plan, that's where you're going. If you're just going to wing life, that's where you're going. For me, I'd have to say you got to really, every day, think about it, set aside time to think about it. For me, when I go to my other job in the evenings, I do get into a deep level of boredom because it's very boring, and I do tap into my mind into thinking very deeply, and that does help me greatly to keep thinking about how can I achieve financial freedom at a younger age, because we don't live forever. We all got to accept that, you know, our life, if you were to pull out a calculator of how many days we've got to live, it's not as much as you think. So keep that in mind. We're only here for a short time. I think, like, how great is it like on a sunny day when you're at work, when you could be doing a million other things? So for me, I'd like you guys to start thinking about your game plan of your future, of your financial freedom. For me, I've got my own plan, so you've got to make your own plan. So I'm not going to give 100% of my plan away, that's my personal information. But for me, I'd like to just like you to get a pen and paper, or even if you just repeat it in your mind until you work out an answer. You've got to work out like something that has potential to achieve financial freedom. So for me, like, I found that if you keep thinking about it on a daily basis, studying books, going on the internet, watching YouTube, finding mentors, eventually all the information will combine and compound it, and you'll find answers. You'll eventually work it out. I recommend reading a good book called Think and Grow Rich. It's not the end all of books, it's one of the books that I'd recommend to read. It does give you the inside of the science on how to become rich and how other people become rich, and he does talk about like over 20 years worth of research he put in and studied on how people became rich back in the old era. And the book was printed in 1937, but there is an updated version, and it does give you the insight of like the science of how other people become rich. It does keep you, there's some very good pointers in there that I think about on a regular basis. That like, for example, he states, you want to be rich, right? But rich has a definition. You got to imagine like how much money you need to live comfortably. It is a certain amount of money. You have to write down an amount of money. Being rich could be not, you know, $1 million, but that's not really enough. You got to set an amount down in your mind or on paper that you're trying to achieve, and then you've got to make a plan on what you're willing to do in return for that money. You got to, you know, it's a long-term goal to try and achieve it. Even like some people say to, if your goal is to make 100 grand a year, then write down on a piece of paper how much you would have to achieve each day to get that goal. So for my game plan, everybody knows, who's watched my YouTube clips, they do know I want to achieve financial freedom as soon as possible. I believe that there's a better life out there than just working 9 to 5 all your life. I believe in the compounding is what helps you become rich in the long term, and delayed to do gratification. And you've got to make a plan. You can't just wing things. You've got to work out what's the best plan for you. And you've got to understand that most people have become rich in this world are through real estate, or through the internet, or through inheritance, or through luck. Some people can even like become singers and movie actors, but that's a long shot if you ask me, or winning the lotto. I personally don't believe in gambling. That's one thing my dad taught me, is he used to be a bit of a gambler, and I know he just wasted his time and his money, and never, you know, when you really think about it, he never win enough money to call his boss and say, I'm done, got enough money to retire. Simply winning $1,000 on betting on the horses, to me, is not going to achieve that. So I think that's a waste of time. So everyone's got a different plan. I'd have to say my plan, I'd really like to achieve a lot of rental properties and hopefully start up a business. And I've even like started this YouTube channel to help, you know, might eventually one day achieve some money, but at this stage it's paid nothing. But I have watched a lot of YouTube clips, and the people that get a lot of subscribers and ads on there can make some money off it, but I think it's more of a long term. You've got to really put a lot of time into it and maybe get the money down the track. So it is a bit of a gamble, YouTube. And I have watched, if you watch YouTube clips on how much they make, it's very low in the beginning. Only I think it's $1 per 1,000 views, and you don't get ads on there, and you need enough subscribers. So it's good to do, but maybe, you know, I'd have to be honest, I'd probably make more money doing Uber. So anyway, I want to just say, I just want to remind you guys to, like, on a daily basis, you got to say the road you're going down is what I said at the beginning, is just to work all your life. And if you want to change that path, you want to, you know, change that as your destiny, you got to do something about it. And I believe you've got a plan, and you've got to be willing to take action. Most people I've studied that aren't successful in this world, they don't take action. And also you've got to realize, like, a lot of people just, you've got to really think, like, why aren't a lot of people poor, and why aren't a lot of people rich? A lot of them, like, just buried themselves in a lot of work, and then they dug themselves, you know, through it. They got buried in work, and they eventually got out of it, and they just did one thing at a time. And also there's a saying I'd like to say from Arnold Schwarzenegger. He says, if you want to be the average person, do what the average person does. So if you want to be more than the average person, you've got to be willing to do more than the average person. Alright guys, have a great day, bye.